Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I am back with another Q&A session. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my low-carb way of life. The question that finally got me to do this is a question that I wondered if anyone would ask me, because I talk quite a bit about what I eat, show pictures of certain lunches that I make, but I never say what I drink. But somebody did ask me, what do you drink? The answer to that is water, and it has nothing to do with the fact that it's low carb. It's that's what I've pretty much always drank. I drink water. I don't buy water. I've only ever had bottled water in this house once, and that was because I had to have gotten it free or very close to free, because I don't spend money on water other than paying my water bill to the town of Sanford. So that's the water that I buy. Very convenient. Try that. I keep a jug in the refrigerator, cold at all times, and yes, I drink directly from the jug. It's my jug. I can do that if I want to. So let's kind of start from the beginning and do a little recap here. On August 26th, I'm looking at the date, which is 9 weeks ago from when I'm making this video, I got my lab results back from my physical. On that day, I was diagnosed as pre-diabetic, and my cholesterol was through the roof. My cholesterol was 318. Yes, you heard that right. My weight was 325, so at least my cholesterol was lower than my weight. And my A1C number, which was all new to me, I'd never heard of that. It's the number that determines whether you're pre-diabetic or diabetic or normal. First of all, diabetic is 6.5. Normal is below 5.7. And pre-diabetic is 5.7 to 6.4, and I was a 6.3, so I'm right at the top of the pre-diabetic. So supposedly, if I changed the way I eat by going to low carb and low sugar, I'm supposed to be able to bring that number down and not become diabetic. I'm hopeful that that can happen. If it can happen, it will certainly happen with me, because I have been a poster child for the low-carb way of life. First, my doctors, the nurse, started telling me what I couldn't eat. And I was like, look, you could list a million things that I can't eat. Let's just tell me what I can eat. So the first things I was concerned about was protein, yes, and vegetables, yes. So I started with that, then I did my homework, and I made a couple of choices that probably wouldn't be on my doctor's list of foods that I should eat at this point, because they wanted me to really, they don't want me to even have fruit at this point. They wanted me to just really bring it down. And I have a little story about an apple that I'll tell you in a little bit. I started immediately, and it has been life-changing for me. So let me tell you a little bit about the way I've eaten my entire life. I don't care if people say I eat from boredom or stress or depression or any of those things. I never found that I ran to food for any particular reason other than the fact that I was insanely craving it, to the point where it would make my life miserable. I have tried, of course, all the things through my 40 years of trying to lose weight. I mean, I started being concerned about my weight by age 12. I knew every calorie in every food, and so it's been a long haul. Nothing I did ever was permanent, because the cravings were always there, and you're not going to beat this with willpower, because it's going to get you every time. I always compare it to a drug addict. Now, I've never been a drug user. I was an alcoholic, so I still know what an addiction is like. And all I can say is that for me, craving food, if I didn't go ahead and satisfy that craving, I couldn't do anything else. I can't concentrate, can't sleep, can't work. You know, it's all consuming. And it's like I had to have that fix so that my body could be like, okay, and then I could do whatever I wanted to do. The trouble is that 20 minutes later, I'm right back in that same boat. Any of you who have a weight problem or an eating disorder, you know what I'm talking about. I have tried low carb before, because I'd heard, oh, your cravings go away, but I never did it completely like I have done now. This might not be the same for you, but this, I will tell you exactly what happened for me. Day one, I stopped eating any kind of refined sugar or carbs, and I will tell you exactly what I eat. My cravings within one day were gone. And I thought, it's just because I'm psyched about trying to better myself. You know, sometimes we get psyched and it changes the chemical balance in our head or something. I don't know, but it'll feel good for a little while. So I just kept waiting. I kept waiting for the cravings to come back and for my world to fall apart. But they didn't, except for one day, because I had apples in the refrigerator. I thought, I'd have an apple today. I didn't even want the whole apple, not all at once. I ended up slicing some of my apples and cooking them on top of my pork chops. And when I was eating those slightly cooked apples, it was so sweet. That apple was so sweet. And I was like, wow, that is sweet. So I ate a few pieces of apple. I had the same meal, leftovers, later in the day. Ate that apple. And that night, I was messaging my friend Jane, and I said, I am craving. I'm craving. And I was so disappointed because I thought the cravings are coming back. But then I thought back, what did I eat today? And I thought of that apple. And I said, I wonder if it could have been the apple to do that. So I said, no, I'm not going to have another apple. And I haven't, and I've not had a craving since. We're 9 weeks in now. And when I say not a craving, I mean the cravings are absolutely gone. I have not one struggle or one desire. My life was about a bag of potato chips. Chips and crackers and pasta and potatoes, but especially the chips and crackers. Chips, Chips, and more chips. I didn't think I could ever try a diet like this. And when I say diet, I use the word diet as in the way I think the word diet is supposed to be used. It just means what I eat, what I consume. I don't mean diet as in weight loss. As a matter of fact, my least of my concerns is losing weight through this. My diet is to try to fix my blood sugar levels. I just couldn't believe that I could ever go without those things. For the last 10 years that I drank, all I wanted to do was stop drinking, but I couldn't imagine my life without booze. I just couldn't. And it was the same with food, only harder, because with booze, you don't have to have it in the house. You don't have to consume it. With food, you have to consume it. So it was like, and when I thought I was doing really, really good and having like the whole grain bread, no. Carbs, if not burned off, will turn to sugar in your body. So even those kind of things, it keeps you craving. It keeps me craving. I shouldn't say you, because again, remember, this is just my experience. Yours could be completely different. But my cravings are gone. And in fact, the thing I struggle with now is that sometimes I have so little of an appetite that I don't even feel like eating, or I start to get lazy about making my meals with a nice variety of vegetables and things like that. So sometimes I'll get lazy and like for 2 days straight I'll just eat ground beef that I've cooked in scrambled beef, and it's like I don't have time to eat. I don't want to eat. So that's a very different feeling for me, to just be bothered by eating. But that struggle is nothing compared to the struggle of craving. If any of you are curious to see if you can cut your cravings out, you might want to try this. And I'm just saying, it works for me. It might not work for you. And of course, I know that many of you ask me, have you lost weight? Have you lost weight? Have you lost weight? I know that I've probably lost 10 pounds. That is not a lot in 9 weeks. I mean, I was at 325. You would think that I'd be just able to drop the pounds at the beginning, but I don't exercise at all. I have no interest in it. It's certainly not at this weight. I can barely stand for 10 minutes unless I'm pushing a shopping cart, and it's just not something I just don't like it, and I'm not going to apologize for that. I am sorry about the squeaky chair. I even just sprayed silicone, but it's still squeaking. I choose to not do exercise unless it's something that I really want to do, and it isn't. I suffer mentally greatly if I take walks, and I'm not even going to get into that at this point, but so let me just tell you, I don't exercise. That has nothing to do with my cravings going away. My cravings going away is strictly from changing my diet, and that's all I can say. I mean, I haven't done anything else different. I'm not looking at calories at this point. Right now, my goal is to just see if this is going to bring my A1C. Is that what it's called? My A1C, yes. I don't know why I want to say AC1, but I want to try to bring that number down, and hopefully my cholesterol too. Now, somebody did tell me that they've done what I'm doing and that their A1C number went up and that their weight went up. So I don't know if they've done it to the extent that I'm doing it. When I list these foods to you, what's on that list is what has gone in this mouth. If it's not on that list, it hasn't passed these lips. When I say I haven't had candy, I haven't had as much as even a throat lozenge or a mint or a stick of gum. Not because I'm trying to be that strict, but because I just absolutely have no reason to eat those things. And I have no desire, no cravings. I was so burdened by cravings all my life that once those cravings were gone, I was like, I can just eat like what I truly feel is good for me and that I like. I am very lucky that I absolutely love vegetables. Now, if you're not somebody who likes vegetables, it's going to be very hard for you. But I love vegetables. I love those things. Let's just get to my list. I have it right here on my computer. What I do is I have a list, and like tomorrow when I go do some groceries, I just look at my list and then I write down if I need anything off that list. This is in no particular order. It's just that if I introduce something new, I put it on the list, even if it's something that I only eat once in a while. And I'll tell you as we go what I eat once in a while or a lot of. First of all, the protein. I eat beef, chicken, pork. I do have bacon, not as much as the other three, and sausage, but I buy sausage that is not like sweet or Italian that has any, carbs and sugar in it. You can get some that's just very low carbs and no sugar. And then I haven't really eaten fish, except for like tuna, but I did just buy some fish, and I have that on my list, so because I can have fish, and I do like fish. I've just been lazy about cooking it. So I eat meat. And at night, if I want to snack on something, I try to always have cooked chicken in the refrigerator. And that is my go-to snack at night, is either a nice broiled chicken breast or whatever I have for chicken. Okay, cottage cheese. Cottage cheese has some carbs, has some sugar. So this is the one thing, well, actually two things, that I allowed myself. But cottage cheese has protein also. Let me look. Yes. Cottage cheese is pretty high in protein, so it's filling in that way. Okay, milk. I put whole milk in my coffee. I don't drink milk throughout the day. I drink water. At night, again, if I feel like really empty and my stomach just feels like it wants to eat, but I'm not in the mood to eat, if I have a cup of milk, it usually satisfies me. It's filling. Peanuts. I eat peanuts galore, and I'm talking, I eat them. And I buy them in the shell. At Walmart, I get peanuts raw in the shell. I absolutely love those. Now, if you've not had raw nuts, they're more bitter. A raw peanut almost could be as bitter as an acorn, because I'm sure every kid has eaten an acorn, right? Okay, I've eaten an acorn. The other thing I have on my list, which I haven't purchased yet, is nuts. Just regular nuts, but I want them in the shell because the whole fun is cracking it, and it takes longer to eat them that way. That's why the peanuts I eat, I only eat peanuts in the shell. Next, and I have this almost every single day, just fresh tomatoes daily. I'll eat 1 or 2 tomatoes a day. Mushrooms. I've been eating canned mushrooms only because I can stock up and then I have them on hand. I eat mushrooms, if not every day, then maybe every other day. I almost always add mushrooms to whatever meal I'm cooking. Celery, again, love celery. Zucchini and yellow squash, if I don't have those in the refrigerator, I start to panic, so I always have that. Cabbage, I have to have cabbage in the house at all times. Radishes, love radishes. I even cook with radishes. Onions, I love onions, but I can't digest raw onions anymore. So, but I love to have them in whatever I cook. Carrots, turnip, bean sprouts. I buy the canned bean sprouts so I can keep those in my stockpile. Beans. Now, here's a higher carb item that I eat, but boy, oh boy, is it worth it. But again, a lot of fiber and a lot of protein in beans, so they're good for you. I choose, my favorites are garbanzo, black beans, pinto beans, kidney beans. I mean, I like any beans, but I buy the canned beans that are, not like baked beans that are in a sweet sauce. When I'm out of the canned beans, I will probably buy dry and make my own. Oh, and I like lima. Oh my gosh, I have to put lima on my list. I forgot. Lima beans. Spinach leaves. Love spinach leaves, cauliflower, and broccoli. Those are the two that I buy frozen. Eggs. I do eat eggs, but I don't eat a lot of eggs because they're expensive, for one. I probably eat eggs maybe once or twice a week. And when I do, I make like an omelet or whatever. I'll eat like 3 eggs in that one meal. Horseradish, I just started eating my horseradish. I mean, I used to love horseradish. Of course, I used to buy it just to make Bloody Marys way back when. But I have horseradish now, and I was happy to see that it's either no or low carbs or no or low sugar. And I like that just even on like my salad. I'm starting to really like spicy. Mayo, I can have mayo. I don't have it a lot. Sometimes if I'm in the mood for a tuna sandwich, I just mix tuna and mayo, and I don't have the bread. I just eat the tuna and mayo. And mustard, I allow myself mustard. I'm big on dipping strips of beef in mustard. Salad dressing, I've just started putting a little bit of salad dressing. Now, any of these things that I like salad dressing, I don't do low fat or no fat on any of these. It's all the higher fat because the regular whole fat is less in sugar and carbs. If I do salad dressing, because I am always aware of calories, it's just a little bit. What I put on my salads is cottage cheese. And then the only other things I have on this list is salt. I use very, very little salt. I like a little bit of salt, like on a fresh salad. Pepper, I like pepper and cayenne pepper. I'm starting to be big on cayenne pepper. And then I've started to use, I have granulated bouillon, and my favorite is chicken, especially if I'm making a soup. Of course, I'll use some bouillon, but sometimes even if I'm just making like a stir fry, I'll take just a little bit of that granulated chicken bouillon for a little bit of flavor in that, especially if I'm having bean sprouts. I like bean sprouts, but to me they taste like the can, so those need a little bit of flavor. So that is it. That is all that I have consumed in 9 weeks. If it's not on that list, I haven't eaten it. You didn't hear me say cookie or muffin, and I'm talking none. None. I have not even put one piece of pasta in my mouth. I still cook pasta for my mother all the time. There's always like a macaroni that falls out or whatever, and it used to be like, whoop, right into my mouth. Nope, don't even care. And so many of you are like, oh, you're doing so good, you're doing so good. I'm not doing anything. Believe me, if I felt like eating that, nothing would stop me. I have no control in that way. The only reason I'm able to do this is because the desire is no longer there. Plain and simple. Sometimes I will find myself picking it up because of the habit of doing that. And I say, oh yeah, I don't need to do this anymore. I'm not compelled to eat this thing. So it just goes to the animals. I have a bin. All my food trash goes outside to the animals. So here's my basic day. I get up late. I don't eat breakfast, and I don't want to be scolded about that. I am listening to my body. If I'm not hungry, I'm not going to eat. But you have to remember, when I get up, I've probably eaten at 1 or 2 in the morning, like a full meal, because I'm up late, so I don't wake up and want to eat. I have a cup of coffee with my whole milk. I do not have sugar in it. I love sweet coffee, but my sugar thing is washed and put away. I do flavor my coffee with vanilla extract, almond extract. I like extracts in my coffee. I have that and 1, sometimes 2 cups, and then later in the day when I'm hungry, I usually have a meal that consists of meat, 2 or 3 kinds. I am starting to be really spoiled where I like some pork, chicken, and beef all cooked together in the frying pan, and then my vegetables are almost always, and I make a pretty big plate. I'll have meat, and then I either have hot or cold vegetables and cottage cheese. Those are like the main things. And of the vegetables, stuff that I eat almost every day, I would say, is zucchini and yellow squash, cabbage, radishes, carrots, turnip, bean sprouts, mushrooms, cauliflower and broccoli. I would eat those probably every day, but I just don't have any in the freezer right now. So those are the ones. Those are my go-to. And I just cut them up in chunks or whatever, and I like carrots too. And I just cook my meat really well, and then I put my vegetables on top, and sometimes I cover that. Like I said, I might sprinkle a little bit of chicken bouillon granules on there. Maybe not, it depends. And then I put my vegetables on the side and my meat on the side, and then I have a nice blob of cottage cheese, which I love. Or I'll have cold vegetables. All those vegetables that I just named, especially tomato. Did I skip? I have tomato almost every time I eat. I have a tomato all cut up in my plate. Sometimes I'll do all my vegetables cold, like I'll cut up a tomato, pickles. Didn't say pickles. That has to go on the list. That's my new go-to. Let me show you. don't remember how much I paid for this, but this is the size pickles I buy. And I leave them right on the counter so I can have pickles with every meal. So yes, I like a pickle. How come I don't have green beans or wax beans on there? Okay, I just added green beans and wax beans. I eat those all the time. I think that the reason they're not on my list is because right before this happened, I had stocked up on over 100 cans of vegetables, including those two. So they're on my list now, but I won't have to buy any for a long time. I'm not eating corn or beets at this point because those are starchy and sweet, and what is on that list is what I'm eating. Butter, I can have butter, but I choose not to. Again, my vegetables, I want to taste the vegetable. And if I were to do any, I would not do margarine. I gave up on artificial a long time ago, so it would only be real butter. So that's what I eat. If you are bogged down by cravings and that your whole life revolves around cravings, I would be very curious for you to give this a try. You don't have to eat the exact same things I'm eating, but, really try to not have any sugar. I mean, this, I'm talking none. I'm talking no candy, no nothing. I've had nothing, not a muffin. When I say not, I'm not saying that, every now and then I'll have one as a treat. To me, the biggest treat in the world is to not eat that. This was the best Halloween, and not one piece of candy went in my mouth, not one. I buy candy for my mother. I don't even care. I don't even care about it. If I want to treat myself, maybe I'll treat myself with like an expensive piece of meat or something. That's a treat. Give me a filet mignon. And I don't want anybody to think that I'm depriving myself, because I don't feel deprived, not in any way at all. So please let me know your experiences. I know this isn't really a good Q&A, because the only question I was asked that made me talk all this much was, what do I drink? But it's just, I've been saying that I wanted to let you guys know. A lot of you have been asking me what I'm eating. I do get checked. Now, I was supposed to get checked in 6 months, but I asked my doctor, can I be checked in 3? Because I want to see if this is bringing my numbers down. And they said, yes, 3 is long enough to wait. Toward the end of November, I'm going to go in for my blood work again and see what my A1C, AC1, see what my A1C number is and see if it's gone down. If it hasn't, then that means it's not possible for me to do it with controlling my diet, because, like I said, I've been a poster child for this. So let's just see how I do. All right, please let me know your experiences with low carb. I kept waiting for these cravings to come back. They haven't. I think after 9 weeks, it's pretty much that they're gone, probably for good. I am petrified to try to eat anything with sugar or starch or carbs, because I'm so afraid those cravings will come back. I mean, so afraid. A lot of you message me back and forth, private messages, and you're like, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that. And most of you are like, you're not eating fruits, you need to have fruits. If fruits are going to make my mental illness skyrocket, then I'm saying bye-bye to fruits. I want to fix my head. If it is so freeing to not have cravings, you can't imagine. I think only somebody who suffers this understands how powerful it is and how depressing and how life-controlling. It would be like telling a heroin addict to have just a little bit of heroin every day and control that and expect them to live a whole life controlling that. No, you got to get rid of the heroin. You got to get rid of the cocaine. I don't think anybody would tell a drug addict to just, you need a little bit of it. No, if a little bit of fruit is going to bring back cravings, then I am going to have to live a fruit-free life, because I choose sanity over physical health any day. And I'm going to die anyway. I want to die happy and sane. That's what I say. I want to die sane. I think the way I eat is probably healthier than anybody probably watching this video at this point, because I don't know too many people who consume the amount of vegetables as I do. So I don't think I'm doing anything bad, and I'm going to be just fine. But I will report back when I have my blood work, and we'll see. That's going to be the big test. And I'm telling you, I am petrified that that number has not gone down, or even worse, has gone up, because that would mean that, my prediabetes, like I said, is not going to be controlled by diet. My father was diabetic, so, I mean, you don't have to be obese to be diabetic. There's a lot of diabetic people. Maybe it's in my cards to be a diabetic. work, I don't know. But I'm going to give it my best shot, try to bring this down, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for putting up with me. Please share your experiences with me. Please, 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 please. All right, that's it. I will be back with more soon. Thank you so much for watching. Please thumbs up if you liked this video. Subscribe. I'm trying so hard to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I think we're going to make it. I appreciate it. Bye.